amazing performance so far in CL, but you know, there's time to get even better.
Maybe today will be the showing required. You know what? Let's take a look at the map that we're going to be playing in this series. Again, 7-map pool, 6 down, 1 left. Who had the last say in this one? It was Gamma Gaming, and they're going to take us to Consulate, eliminating Oregon. So this is our decider, of course, our 7th map. Yes, Gio, I see you cringing there for a bit.
I'm just cringing a bit because this is the map that Division, or formerly Division, the Fedora beat Secret and Rogue on. So you could argue that this is one of, if not the strongest maps for this team. But then you can say Gamma Gaming also a very strong team, so maybe they just feel that they have a one-up on them. But regardless, I would say it's ballsy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, Fedora, yeah, they had that win against Rogue, but of course they lost the G2 really convincingly 7-2 on this map in the GSA semi-final. And yes, this is a good map for Gamma. They won it quite a few times, including 2 7-0s in the Benelux League. It was the only map they dropped to Sector 1, now August in the grand final of the Benelux League. So maybe not necessarily their best map, I don't know. They also played it way back in the Challenger League Season 11 against Tempera and lost it there as well. Overall, just looking at results so far in the Challenger League, you know, Fedora is yet to pick up a map win. They drew Windstrike and lost to Machiko, I should say. Gamma beat Granite and then drew to Heretics. I feel like overall, Gamma should come out on top here.
All right, let's see how this goes. Gio, James, thanks so much for breaking things down. Let's tip our Fedoras all together. To our casters, Fluke, Hap, Flap, please, all yours.
It's a weird coincidence that we keep getting Gamma Gaming. I don't know if you've noticed it. Have you noticed something about that, and you and Gamma Gaming?
I haven't actually. No.
Okay.
I don't know why.
It just
Must be
seems
some
to
crazy
happen.
coincidence.
Maybe it's revenge for the fact that you gunned down their coach earlier, just this very same day, in an unranked game that I'm sure he wants to kind of prove a point about today. This is going to be a tough map. Now, it's one of those things where, obviously, as Gio said, this was a great map for Division. It was something that they pulled a lot in GSA, but as we come back to us very quickly, it wasn't the same Division, it's fair to say.
No, only, I believe, 2 of the original players that played the regular season on there, 3 of the players, of course, who played those finals, and it's not the same Division. You cannot really compare the two, the 2 rosters to what they were capable of doing, because there will be completely different playstyle now. There will also be completely different strategies coming up, as of course new staff, new players means different ways of working. So, you know, for me, this is a bit of unknown ground here for Fedora. And that means we get to explore it here today.
Yeah, so we'll see obviously if X Division Fedora can pull a little bit extra here. Because they will probably have to. Gamma Gaming, obviously, there's a lot of stories about these players, and you know, they're in a lot of people's books the hot favorites to get the whole thing at the end of this. They were very, very strong. They had a chance once upon a time, but there's a famous saying, I think, that relates to that one of their players said. Are you trying to think on it? Or do you want me to
I accidentally muted my microphone.
Oh, okay. Was it because it was emotionally hard for you?
I was coughing, so I muted it, but then I clicked the unmute button and it didn't unmute. I wanted to say,
yeah.
I quote a wise man who threw the UL spot. You really got to win those.
You can't. You said he threw it.
They threw it. But they're the Chaos Academy team. You got to keep that in mind as well, because
they tried to run it back.
That's Coach Turnap's doing. You know, run it back. Now, how well did it work for you? We're not gonna hammer down on that every single time, because this is getting like a dead joke right now.
To be fair,
unless they run it back again.
Dirt Tunnel's been... Yeah, well, that's the thing. If they find themselves in the finals yet again, and they find themselves in this playoff situation yet again, and they find themselves on Clubhouse yet again...
Don't put Leonski in dirt.
Nobody puts Leonski in the dirt.
Concealer. He plays dirt.
Concealer, we find ourselves on Fedora versus Gamma. This is quite an important game if you're kind of looking at the boards. Obviously, as I said earlier on in the analysis, the way that our board can be shaped today is we're going to start to see these teams in the top half bleed a little bit. And obviously, if Gamma take the win here, I believe they boost themselves up to 2nd place, heading over the Mako,
Heretics.
who lost today, and Heretics possibility. Or no, I guess Heretics, no, they keep themselves going. Mako are the team that's dropped down from their loss earlier today. Trying to remember now off the top of my head.
Machko dropped down as they lost. Granite just lost, and what I said before on the earlier desk, if Gamma wins here, then both Windstrike and Gamma will be confirmed to be going to those playoffs. That is a major point. So Gamma has the opportunity here to secure their own spot, but also secure the Russians their spot, with only 2 play days to go after this.
Well, let's see if the Gamma roll keep it rolling. Fedora, obviously, with your 3 in hand, you're looking at Heretics next, and then Granite afterwards. Statistically, and purely only statistically, that is an easier run, but, you know, it's got to start here. It's got to start with a team that is technically unbeaten so far, and as I said before, for a lot of people's expectations, one of those teams to make it all the way. Vaish playing Frost on the top of yellow. Well, that's a bit of a surprise pick.
Okay. Okay, so back in the day when this lineup, you know, when it was still under Trust Gaming, they beat Liquid on DreamHack. And I believe the same event they also went up against G2. And Fabian, the Lord and Emperor, bless him, the day beforehand he said, do not get stuck in Benelux. I recall that he got stuck in 3 of Avijah's Frost Traps within 1 round. So, you know, sometimes they work. And it's especially working if it's like a surprise pick. And it can also work in these gunfights, right? Because you're going to be rappelling in a window, jumping over something, jumping over a shield, for example. You have the choice, either I shoot the Frost Trap or I shoot the player, but you're going to be losing it out either way if you're contesting out on those windows. So that might be how they're trying to set it up. Of course, I'm not sure. It might have also been the fact that he was AFK and got it handed to him. And
are both as likely?
Both are as likely.
Okay,
it's the
well,
fact we're talking about, we'd never know.
Huge amount of pressure onto Panix here as he tries to dig in behind the close corners on the cabinet of the CEO desk. No. See you later. Gonna pop out, rotates, realizes just how much pressure's there, but with Capcan fervently watching the rotation up, this is probably gonna be the first affray we see between these two teams, well aware that there will be some eyes on. The drone's gonna make it even more obvious, and look at that, caught on the shoulder, but surviving, and that's probably the most important moment here, because if they can keep themselves locked in underneath and they keep themselves blowing up anything that tries to enter, it's obvious that Fedora want to try and tip their hat towards that CEO desk and set themselves up behind it in the business casual that Fedora offers, but with Gamma Gaming, well, they're making sure that that is in no way comfortable.
Have the shield here to back them up as they try to rotate back. A yellow take is upon us. The Mia then leaves. That's really unfortunate, as that leaves Gamma in a 4v5 advantageous position.
That's
you
your
can count
Maverick
it as
one.
an entry frag to some. Yeah, it's your Maverick gun as well. So you're not going to be able to open up on yellow stairs anymore, which they might want it to do. That means they now need to rappel in or walk through. It's either one of those two. And as they do have the cover, it might be the first one, the rappel in, coming in soon.
The concern is that there might be someone playing underneath and in that connector, which they're trying to pop open the angles to make sure it's locked off. There's a wide swing. Top yellow, Leonski's playing towards the long desk, is going to be a bit of a bastion and a ballast back, but the rotation's coming up from behind them as well. They cannot quite find the first member of Gamma, who are keeping themselves sparse, yet irritating, nipping at every single angle, and there's a bit more than a nip. Nuray is the first off the board, but a quick trade in the middle brings a little bit of confrontation towards the swing, and you've got to take it now as Fratelli tries to dig the diffuser in, but in a 1 versus 3, well, and 5 seconds on, this is surely Gamma's to lose.
And they won't lose it here as they're going to be staying put. Playing in multiple directions, just putting down some pressure, forcing him to not go for a retake. And as the rehost comes in, as we lost the Mia that early on, we are heading into round 2 soon. But first, we're going back to our beautiful faces. Here you have it. Just like it's magic. Just like we communicate with whoever is behind all these buttons.
What I will just do is very quickly push my monitor out of frame. There we go.
I mean, you could have been Daz as well, but like his gown on like on the door, and he had to push it down as we came in from a rehost. Because
did he?
yeah,
I'm not
it
as
was
cool as
first week.
businessman Des. What I will say is probably not cool is losing your Maverick, because I think you were right. The way that they were stacked up, they wanted to try and apply that close-in diffuser and the pressure, but you lose those frag grenades, you lose the ability to pop yourself open any of that big wall in yellow. It severely limits anything you can do on there, and you could almost see the moment of, oh no, we are just going to have to try and force our way past long desk now.
Yeah, that's all they had to do, right? Just all they had to do. And I mean, I didn't really like the idea of bringing a Maverick to actually open up with it, because you're going to take quite a bit of time. You're really exposed when you're opening up on that sidewall. So if that was their original plan, I think it was doomed to fail anyway, because they had that shield there on the long desk next to flags. They were able to challenge you if the Maverick wanted to go for it. The only difference it would have really been for this round was an extra gun and maybe some grenade for those he didn't use yet. And of course that extra gun can be really important, because basically right now the entry frag was given away for free to Gamma, which they make use of perfectly well.
I think that's the way it also boils down to, is we saw from the hands of Fedora, or maybe the Hats, that they kind of took over the pocket and the bubble of control that they desperately wanted. They had the angles from the windows, and they had an idea of where the Gamma players were playing. We saw the Gamma setup a couple of times, which was generally those shields on long desk. They had also set themselves up for a kind of return fire trench to make sure that if anyone moved across the open space, they could catch them. The person who got past was Yana with the diffuser. If they still had some bodies, if they still had the angle open that they might have wanted, that could have been a pocket of space that turned into a mark of success. But, as I said, I think without the ability to get the control from yellow across the site in that kind of direction, they were always a bit concerned that there could be rotation, could be problems from underneath, and well, it turned itself into one body being picked apart one at a time. Obviously, it's one of those things. We never really know, because we didn't see the full force attack. We didn't see everything come to fruition, but the fact that the Maverick was the first in kind of hints towards it. You also think about the frag grenades and how they could have been used to destroy one of those shields. We saw some ADS start to be burnt around that core zone, but if you don't have the ability to have enough there, if you can't get rid of Leonsky, who had dug himself in on that long desk angle, it means any movement, any transition that you're making across yellow, or if you're trying to make it obviously from the window itself, it's still covered, it's still watched through those little slits in that shield.
And it makes me think, because literally any hard breacher is better for the current situation that the, well, X Division Fedora found themselves in. Like, Ace would be able to do it from a distance, so would Hibana, and Termite would just be a quick put up, run back, detonate, and done. Whilst Maverick would have to, well, use a couple of seconds to actually create a rotation there. It might make me think, were they thinking we were going downstairs? Because that is the side where you often would use a Maverick, so you can cut out the garage wall from top to bottom. Just, you know, make sure that the reinforcement magically disappears and allows for the soft breach to open up on the garage wall.
Yeah, it's always possible.
If so, that's a mistake, because in the first round you never know where to go, and that's often when we see, well, teams bring the most diverse lineup they can get, which is the most equipped to deal with any situation, which would be including a Hibana, Ace, or Termite.
We'll be back in the game sooner rather than later. I'm sure production will keep us updated as they obviously try and fix the one player who's had unfortunate difficulties. But otherwise, again, I think it's one of those situations where if you're in the camp of Fedora, you're obviously trying to build up from a previous perspective of you are, in a weird way, a new roster to this. You've kind of pieced together from the ashes and remnants of other teams. You're up against what is one of these top dog rosters. Before we even start to see these numbers put up on the boards, how do you think you approach a team that's not just a good team, not just with X tier 1 and tier 2 consistent players, but from a region like Benelux, which has such a kind of hefty scene from a kind of multinational point of view?
The thing is, the Benelux is a really small scene of itself, and often teams are filled with, well, let's say 2 players from the Nordics or from the UK to give that extra bit of firepower, and that is just the truth to it. However, this team, like, it started as a full Dutch roster, it completely dominated the scene, and then suddenly they started making these changes. Krijn, the next one came in, some changes happened there as both of them left, and Blast joined but retired, and right now we have Panix, who, well, wants to make his way back to tier 1 after taking a short leave, and Astro to come in, who was part of this lineup before he made that transfer. So they're really looking to replace that fragging power they had, maybe with some brains as well. As well, Gamma, hoping in their 4th season to finally make it. Because it's been 4 seasons already they've been in CL.
Dude, you just want to remind them? You just
I
want to...
did already when we played in ranked today.
Okay. I don't... Cast the bias, mate.
I also play with Penta, so, and Orglus.
Okay, now you're just rubbing it in that
many.
you just, oh, your famous friends.
No, I'm just
I know
saying,
Ben Citizen
you cannot
McMillan.
be biased if you bias to everybody equally, right?
Can you call them by their first names?
Some, yeah.
I'm sorry, I'm quoting copy pastas at you.
It's okay, it's okay. Sometimes you need a good copy pasta.
Yeah, exactly. Cat Jam. Setting themselves up for a quick pace underneath. Buck, the man who was once top of the board, has unfortunately dropped off, as highlighted by the recent operator play statistics, and Helby's kind of sad tweet is showing a bit of a resurgence on specific sites. Playing underneath here isn't really one of them, but I'm curious to see how much it grows. Is it an idea of missed opportunity and missed site knowledge? If not, Hayes is putting a huge amount of pace towards opening up these attempted reverse vertical angles. The floor is falling beneath the feet of the connected site and antechamber, and it's just going to make everything a little bit more uncomfortable for the players inside, but the players don't usually play directly inside the site. As we see from Avesh, it's above. It's a top-heavy hold. You set yourself up with the lockdown on the front door. Sure, you have some rotations. You'll have someone in the bathroom. And
no!
Well, Nure's not allowed to play, apparently, today.
No, first it was Namiya that disconnected, now he gets a team kill. Yeah, okay, I guess. I mean, there's some creative ways and things going about. The second one will get the down into a fight, however, and that means that a drone is going to be able to confirm whether or not he is going to be able to be picked up. Repel, however, now coming through, and the question is, will Namiya be watching a potential jump out from Deepak? Because... we know he's going to be really aggressive. He often is. The Valkyrie was already banned out, which is often the operator he plays. It's a ski operator. So he joined the Malusi gang now. And, well, T5, still pretty good SMG.
Well, the aggro is starting to collapse down upon them. As you said, they like to swing in, and they're wasting no time here. They have over a minute left, and Leonsky could be the first to put a bit of a burst against them, but the flash comes through and accidentally hits the Buck too. Oh no! Tough situation, and Hayes is just not going to play in and amongst that haze, and he's going to pull himself back and see if he can put some pressure back underneath. As I said, though, it's the top heavy. They've got to be concerned about any of those eagle eyes watching from above. This is why, again, look at the bubble and look at the pocket that they've cleared for themselves here. They now have CEO. They have an idea of piano. They're not going to pull themselves under the usual plant spot of lobby, and that might be their plan to try and pull themselves into a point here away from the prying eyes of Gamma. The concern is on that bathroom, someone with the swing, but also the potential of rotation. Yellow Stairs is always here, always consistent, and always striking. Leonsky gets the first as Kapkan goes down in the second set of a fray.
So really important kill there because of that, Deepak did not get spotted, who is still able to be jumping out here from the balconies. Namiya takes a lot of damage from the smoke. Almost dies. There comes a jump in. Fratelli will be in for go for a plant right now, but Leonsky still has the vertical control. So they need to find a space where it's not safe. Leonsky will be picking up one kill, and so Fratelli will be forced to go for the defuse now, as Leonsky still has the verticality. Gets that down, goes for the second, but Hayes wasn't aware that Leonsky was already down. He will survive, but the second round will go to Gamma as well.
Did you notice something about a certain second frag grenade almost killing Maverick there?
No, I haven't actually.
There was almost a second frag grenade related incident that round. It bounced off the window and took about 25 of Maverick's health. He was able to slip out of the way just before, but we almost had 2 frag grenade team kills in one round.
We also had a lot of flashes coming into the actual team itself. Utility use on Fedora, not really something to write home about yet, but it might just be, you know, the start of the match jitters. They might be growing into it. As the Clash gets 6 picked out to the Maestro. Also seeing Dokubi coming in for a bit of extra information, maybe.
Well, it seems like they've opted and angled themselves for a slightly different push, and I think the frag grenade incident, as comedy as it is, does highlight the problem here, as well as obviously the misthrown flashes, is there doesn't seem to be the coherence in the utility use that you kind of need when you're pushing in that manner, in that bubble and pocket of space. They're locking off non-default standard angles and pushes, which is fine and fair enough. In the game, you can always bring your own little angles. And I'm talking about this is not if it's like a, whoa, crazy, a piano push. It's not. But it's not the default. The default is you dig in on lobby, get that room cleared just above, and get yourself in standard like a backwards plant on the door. If you're looking at attacking CEO, usually it's not, you know, internally common to stack yourself up on the windows and try and cut it across the line. You want to apply a little bit of pressure onto potentially admin first, just to draw something away. This is a full team stack up and a full team approach. And it's just missing that little bit extra cohesion to make the surprise possibility and the pace that they can apply work. Because it could work if they had a little bit more sharpness to the pace of the actual collapse down. You want to play a surprise game, you want to play something off the super common route and off the super common defaults, you got to bring a little bit more oomph to it.
I sometimes have to indeed. I think we're going to see C4 being reining in soon here, Flute, because we see a Vige playing up here, has that C4. Right now they're just trying to get the right angles as they're trying to find out how many people are actually in front of that bridge. There is that one member, that is Dokubi, I believe, in Fratelli, who is upside down rappel from the actual balcony, and that means that if a C4 could be coming in all the way from the CEO windows, they might be able to pick up 1 or 2 kills, but instead it's going to be Astra that gets picked up by Nura. And with that, piano control slowly gets established, but there we go. Deepak able to go for the return straight away to maintain the piano control, which will be really crucial to try and actually go right here for an actual plant. And as Ace picks up Leonsky as well, it's a 4-2 situation. Just panics on the side.
Well, they wanted a little bit extra pace, and they came in a plum. Everything there was a little sharp as they went for the push and lockdown, but the confusion might start to reign as the body rains from above, takes care of Capcan and looks towards the door to try and find the second. It's Maverick holding and locking down behind the big old safety of a vending machine. Now, the C4's dropped and it doesn't catch anybody, but the communication is sharp here as he touches his fingers and unfortunately doesn't have the gun to deal with the people close by. That was great utility combination.
Great utility combination indeed. Using that phone call just to grab them off guard, just ever so slightly. Make them a bit panicky as they're running across the map. Very heavy top floor hold, however, from Gamma. Quickly dispatched from the likes of Fedora as they managed to retake that piano time and time again. Every single time as a member of Gamma tried to fight back. Again, the Frost coming out, but most likely will be 6-picked as has been shown from the start. And often it's not an operator you would like to do that with. But as I say that, a fight's already locked in, so you might actually just not see the 6-pick. No 6-pick coming in from the Frost. That is really, really curious.
See, you're using the word curious there, but I know you want to use the word silly. Oh, probably a stronger word.
Interesting.
Interesting. Is that a nice way of putting it? The way that Hap is looking at phrasing this is you have 6-pick as an item and an idea, and you know you want to play the Frost, and you know no one else is going to use the 6-pick. Maybe they don't. Yeah, well, maybe they don't know that someone is. Yeah, it could be reverse psychology of being like, haha, surely they're going to 6-pick this off. No. Avaish doesn't 6-pick a Frost. But also you think, yeah, but also you think of the possibility of you could 6-pick 2 Frost if you know you want to play it and have the surprise if there's Frosts. It depends on how well you think the team are getting information and droning. That could be a part of it. Avaish is like, they're going to find it out anyway. Let me just put the fear of Frost into them.
Like, often when you see a Kavera or a Frost or a Tachanka or a Fuse being picked, it often gets 6-picked out. It's considered, you know, one of those obvious, you're not going to be bringing that, it's not in the meta, why would that see play? But instead it's decided to be stuck here, and thus it will see play. And it might be reverse psychology, as I said before, as in like, surely that will be 6-picked out, they're not going to be worried about the Frost as it, you know, it was already shown during the actual reveal phase. So there's 2 ways you can get on this. As panics, digging himself in deep into a corner.
Creeping their way to the top now, and I guess we'll get the full demonstration of what they would have done with a Maverick on this push. They've still set themselves up with the Maverick trying to hold down the angle from yellow window at first. They popped a bit of it, and yep, here comes those grenades. The flashes go through to burn, and they're going to try and catch the man inside. Panics while he's under a bit of pressure here. The calls are coming out, but It's not the call that gets the cap. It's apparently a frag grenade.
That's exactly what I thought that would happen there. You saw the buck coming over as well, opening up from above the reinforcements. The flashbangs tossed in. There's only one way that will go, and as that happens, Astro gets picked up as well, and that leaves us in a 3-5 situation here, where Fedora have the opportunity to grab the second attacking round in a row right here, where Leonski is saying no to that for now, as Nora gets picked up. Brings it somewhat back to even numbers, but still not, well, something they will be really confident with in this last 80-second period of time.
Well, the pressure's going to start to cook, and as I said, they're looking towards that battle on long desk. This was a bit of the make or break before with Leonski locking it down, but he's concerned about either side. But it's Deepek, throws himself out of a close window, catches the attempted pressure on the opposite side, and that is really going to hamper and damper some of the plans here on catching out Leonski. Look at the potential of Buck, though. Hayes is underneath, waiting through the turn and the resurgence, but Deepek has said, no, wait, already back upstairs and potentially eyeing the possibility of another bit of aggression. This is what I talked about before, the frag grenade to try and get this Maestro out, blows up the shield, and Avash blows up Fratelli. In the meantime, there is Namiya, though, trying to catch another person in the opposite swing, but it is impossible to stop this Avash. And I talked about where Buck could be and what he could do from underneath, and now, well, we can only talk about what Buck can do, because he is all that is left. Has to try to fill in the mantle of the previous body of his teammates. Opens a rotation, a little bit of an extra angle here, which could have been a bit of misplay and missight from the team before. Can hop through, but without the diffuser, all you can really do, as you picked up on the default cam, is unfortunately get caught in the gamma trap.
I forgot that the SMG of Frost actually got a 1.5 scope now. And often, well, not often, but like guns are often a choice for some of these players, right? Like you choose a gun that you're feeling happy with, but it also gives you utility that will be helping out your team. That's normally how you decide your main. I would say, not saying that Frost is his main. But the 1.5 definitely helps in this situation due to the fact that the C9, I think, or the 9C, I believe it's called, or 9mm, I don't know.
9mm.
This is the one gun I'm not
it's the 9mm. Like, it's the...
Is it 9mm C1? Is that the
yeah.
name? Something like that. Anyway.
I'm familiar with the gun. You do your point, and then I'll say what I'm going to say.
I was like, there's low recoil. It's a steady fire rate, not too fast. However, it does some good damage. But with that 1.5, it allows you to hold off these very long angles and allows you to contest that upside down rappel, for example, on the CEO windows, just a little bit better.
Yeah. I'm familiar with the gun because I've played the game since pre-launch. I played the game at Eurogamer Expo before it was out on beta, and apparently Matt Andrews was there casting games, which I didn't know. The man, it's Siege Time himself, Matt Andrews. Either way, I've played the game that long. And over the years, I've only ever got black ice on 2 different guns. I've got it for the 9mm, Frost 9mm, 4 times. Right, yeah. 4 times.
Oh, well.
I've got the same duplicate for that gun 4 times.
Well, aren't you playing Epic tomorrow? Maybe this is a sign that you have to bring Frost to the lineup.
Yeah. Maybe. I'm sure my team won't get mad at me if I suddenly go, guys.
I mean, you can say I saw it in CL, so it's
I saw it in, yeah, I saw it played by Gamma Gaming. They're currently 3-1 up against Fedora, but the game's still on. So maybe, I guess, my preference on whether I play him in my comp games tomorrow will be if Gamma Gaming can win, which they still have a lot left to do in front of them. I think it's a fair thing to say. Obviously, Fedora, they've learnt, and they've gotten a bit sharper over the past couple of rounds. A couple of things went away from them in the previous one, but it's way better than obviously their first take. Okay, they had a player disconnect. I'm aware. We also saw it in the second round where there was a little bit of a miscommunication. Look at the grenade that they're able to pull off. Things are starting to heat up under the Fedora. And, you know, let's see if they can kind of grow into the fight against Gamma.
They'll have to start growing into it. Consulate one of those maps, there's more 50... Again! Namiya! What are you doing? This is the second time you have teammated Nora out of existence.
Where is Namiya? Oh, he's still in the same window.
Yeah, he's on that window. Nora's dead down there. I mean, it could be... Okay, I tried it to set a Valkyrie camera on that position multiple times. It doesn't go out of that window. So that might be
A bugged window?
the issue here. Yeah, it might be a bugged window.
It happens. Well, I mean, there's... Because that's the third grenade we've seen in an incident there. And we know he's very good with them, because he used one brilliantly before. I think it's fair to assume maybe there is more to meets our eye. Either way, he's trying to make up for it. 2 quick kills come into the favor of Fedora. Panics and Deepek go down. You're looking at your loss of smokes, which is a big one, especially in the hands of Panics, the amount of time it can buy. But the pressure coming under the mirror, who's behind the soft wall, isn't going to catch out Fratelli, who's moving and manipulating. That gets caught out, though. Hayes punished by the push and the swing, looking for the man underneath, and just finds them in time. And look at this swing back into Gamma's favor. A quick trade inside, and it's all locked off for Gamma.
Oh, let this be a lesson. Do not toss any more grenades through on that window, because that is twice already resulted into a team kill. Oh, man. It is so unlucky if that is the case, really, but we are finding ourselves up 4-1 right now. Gamma hoping to close this out with a 5-1 as they go into Cafeteria Garage. But I believe this was the last that Fedora actually won a round. Right? Like, this was yeah, I was going to say,
And
this was the side that Fedora won.
It was quick, it was aggressive. They took a lot of control away from Gamma very early on. They were able to apply a lot of pressure to the Gamma players, and then eventually it came down to, as what I kind of said at the time, really good utility timing, really good utility planning. They had, obviously, the calls, which is the most obvious end to all of that, but the picks and the communication against Gamma, because Gamma, they're a good, aggressive team. They're happy to swing and consistently do against a lot. I guess, you know, when you're used to this team and this roster and what they can do, and you know that it obviously had the names like Next One and Cryan on it, players that we know as being these kind of aggro players and very capable on it, you expect the same from the roster, even when they have changes. You expect them to keep that same mindset and mentality, because it was obviously leading to success. And here, last time we were around here, what it seemed like was a really concise shutdown on the top floors by Fedora against Gamma. Now, I guess for the first time, we're going to see if Gamma can learn the lessons that were taught to them by Fedora last time round, and I guess all of them instantly charging their way forward. The pace, can it be matched as they did before?
Can he be matched like before? As Gamma managed to bring a key change in their lineup as the Clash is now coming out. The Clash will be there, of course, to stall down any push that potentially will be coming in. And I think that due to that, we also won't see the 4 or 5 people, or the 3 to 4 people playing upstairs that we've seen before. As I already can count 2 people down on the actual sites. As the line slowly starts getting cut open, it's a Vige playing on the top again. This time we'll be creating some impact holes on the top floor just to support. We some of the members being spotted out now by Leonski here. Some information being gathered. But Gamma, so far, not too much pressure yet, except for that wall that's opening up.
Wow, this is obviously the big change, and another frag grenade. Nobody killed by this one. Teammate or opponent aside. Namiya takes no prisoners usually, but this time, well, all he's taken is a bit of pressure against Leonski, who has to pull a little bit further back. The Maverick has been able to get what he needs to opened, and now it's going to be the dance of Clash around the back of White Van. They're looking to apply this pace quite quickly. They haven't really found any bodies, though, and if you think this time last time, they'd already found 3 across the board, so it is definitely a different story currently, and maybe they're just trying to apply all of their brains towards Leonski first. There's a Vaish that suffers above in piano and suffers even more as the Ash charges in and charges through. One more inside the bathroom, but they're going to hold down and wait for a bit more to come underneath first.
Second nade was tossed in just now. Didn't manage to get a kill. It's up to Fratelli now to try and make sure that Leonski will not live. Instead, the grenade comes in and Astro will fall. It's Namiya now to try and play close, but he's not going to be able to get inside the knife range as the withstand of Capcan will be coming through. Might allow him to push through for the remainder of this round. 50 seconds left and Deepek will fall as Capcan will be able to pick up that kill. Keep in mind, he was basically dead before that withstand came into play. It's all up to Leonski now in a 1-on-4 situation as Hayes picks up 1. Is this the round that Fedora can pick up? The grenade comes in, but Hayes finishes him off before. It is Fedora that will be picking up their second round. And that means it is not over yet, and we're going to the next half to try and find out who had the better defense or the better attack?
If that kill hadn't gone to the Buck, that would have been another frag grenade kill. And I think that's a lesson here, is in a strange way, with the skill that we've had from the hands of the frag grenades thrown by the players of Fedora, maybe that window is like the 6th man for Gamma so far. I guess we don't really know, like, where those frag grenades, obviously...
Are we going to see
Gamma
use the same window now?
I can tell you exactly where those frag grenades were going, actually. They were going to the soft wall mirror.
Oh, could they? But why don't you toss them in from the other window then? Because then you have a little bit of a more blunt angle, or sharper angle rather, which is harder to contest as the mirror.
Potentially. I mean, obviously, it depends on the skill of them. If he's trying to, like, lob them over the top or get a bit of an angle, I trust, in a weird way, and this is saying it after we've seen 2 team kills with grenades, I trust the hands of Namiya with a frag grenade. I do. And that's obviously, okay, I'm saying I know exactly it. It just makes sense. I might be wrong, but it does make sense, because that mirror was a big flaw in trying to get it open, and that was how they tried to crack it before. Either way, that's just hypothesizing. I'm sure it'll be on Twitter later.
We'll come on Twitter. Especially what happened, what was the plan, and probably how it really messed up their rounds, because that's often what follows right after. And I can understand that if you lose out a player due to unfortunate circumstances, twice, it's not going to be helping you out that much, especially if the defending team really didn't have to do anything but exist to make it happen. But well, it is Fedora on the defense now, and that means it's up to Gamma to try and get the attack going, to try and besiege the forts and the puzzle that will be set up here by Fedora. We're looking, of course, to get a win of themselves as well, but they will need to step it up a bit more than they're currently doing.
Well, Deepak wastes no time. If we're going to talk about some of the pace that we saw from their opponents, it's a battle back underneath. However, no Ray drops panics. Your sledge is gone. 2 frag grenades off the board. If we're going to see anyone's skill matched, it's not going to be from the hands of Panics as of yet. Leonski concerned about the potential of a run out. You now know that there is a body moving underneath, and you now know it's a little bit aggressive, and you also know it's won its first gunfight. But Fratelli loses theirs onto this window. They want to try and drop it and finish it off, but they're also well aware they'll probably get swung on. If they can apply some pressure now onto yellow, they might be able to bait the body into a little bit of destruction. Kind of like that. Capcan blows Deepak off the building. Trade for trade and blow for blow seems to be the constant MO here, but the concern is still for underneath. Fratelli lies on the floor of a bathroom, nowhere no one wants to be, as Leonski tries to dip out the way. They attempted to pick it up and the bait was there, and Capcan is no longer.
Have to be careful though, as Nora's still playing from below. He might be going for a run out from that main door, and if he succeeds in doing so, we might see ourselves a double kill coming in. Here he comes, but he's going to be responded on straight away. Astro picks him up. It's only up to Namiya now. The time runs down and Fratelli will die. And that is all up to the smoke now. Not sure how many canisters he has left. 0. And that means all the phone is ringing as he gets called by his mother. It is a batch to pick him up in the end. He had no utility to play with. He was outgunned and outmatched. And it is Gamma that will be picking up this round as well. The first attack straight away. With a good attempt, however, I have to say, from the Jaeger trying to go for a run out, because that could have been really shifting the tides.
5-2 Gamma, but, well, as we saw, it was a little bit of a war across a lot of those windows and angles. It seemed like Fedora had a lot of answers to a lot of potential problems. They just unfortunately got a bit scratched on some of the questions too. It does give you a bit of hope as a Fedora fan, though, that there might be more in this game. 5-2 is a bit of a scoreline. They're only 2 away from locking this down. But at the same time, you know, there's still a bit of a spark, still a bit of a life, and still a bit of a possibility. Cafe Garage, a site that is entirely Fedora's so far in the showdown. Let's see if they can master their defense as much as they seem to have a handle on their attacks.
They need to get that one back. They need to get those rounds on the board. As bottom floor is the game that they will play. CDA is coming out rather than a Maverick from Gamma. Will mean that piano control will be, has to be established. There's no Thatcher on the board as it has been banned. And there is, however, a mute. So if Hayes is going to be putting up these jammers, these overlords, in the right position to block out that wall, they will definitely need to take care of... here you have them, 2 already deployed. The other 2 will be placed probably upstairs to make sure that the player playing in the bathroom will be safe, which is Fratelli, of course, with the mirror. But that does mean that there is a need, a very dire need, to try and get that top floor control. Because otherwise you're not going to be able to clear out these mute jammers unless you're feeling lucky and peek through from the yellow door.
Always the fear, and, well, let's see if they can put it in. Lion on the board for the first time today as well. Can apply a little bit of a pace and pressure towards a defense that is otherwise a little bit tough to control. Before maybe wants to have a bit of a spark and push and pressure. This is a very fast map when it can get into it and when it's been demonstrated before, especially when you're looking at the top-down sectioning that can easily be facilitated by the wonderful hatch synergy that can translate you from top to bottom in less than about 3 seconds. So having a bit of a handle over everything, especially a team like Fedora that can be aggressive, we've seen them playing underneath and playing around those angles. It's probably going to be a bit of a thankful roar when it actually breaks around these hollowed echoes. The first trade comes down, but the second is instantly matched, and there is the E1D, too little, too late. Nore has escaped away from your paws for now.
Playing the 417 rather than the Vector on the Lion. Something you do not often see, as the members now have all fallen back to the side, except for Hayes, who is still playing in that bathroom. Not really in a suicide mission, as the hatch has been opened up, allows him to go for a rotate back as soon as the pressure gets too hot. As there is still 2 E1Ds left, those will definitely be helping with the push as they try and dislocate these players from their current positions. Waiting until the right moment to pop them. They're trying to get the right angles open as well. Be able to get a little bit of an eye into the bathroom, but it's not going to be enough to actually get the player out of it.
Well, here comes the pulse, here comes the attention, and there goes Leonski. Pulls himself away, doesn't want to get caught by the swing on the right side, and the C4 starts to demonstrate just how powerful that top hold can be. They now have piano, they now have the bathroom, but they still have a lot of work to be done underneath, especially with 4 opponents still standing. They have to try and clear their way in, and they're going to start with the big wall if they can get that cracked sooner rather than later. Those ace charges, they're not the quickest, and they're still steadying and busying their way. Oh no, Hayes caught by positioning on pipes, a big loss as well. If you're looking at the angle that they could lock down, late on the frag grenade delivery, panics. You're keeping me panicked here with the Christmas presents that I'm unfortunately earning a little bit too late.
C4 being tossed in, that will explode, but the kill actually comes in right before. It's going to be a Vij to pick up a double kill as well, and it's only up to Namiya now. As a Vij comes in from the back with that DMR, the 417 able to pick up 3 kills here in this round. It does about 71 damage per shot, Fluke. That is absolutely disgusting to play against. And that means you only need 2 wherever in the body you take them down. So I really like the fact that we're actually seeing a bit more versatility coming in rather than just always the Vector, for example, on Lion. As the Vij demonstrates perfectly how powerful it can be. But 2-6 is the current score. We have 4 match points that Gamma will have to try and close out this game with. Because if they do, both Gamma and Windstrike will be confirmed to be going up to the playoffs that will be happening later this year.
Cafe Garage. As I said, this was a site that was really into the hats of Fedora, but unfortunately it seems like what they've pulled in when they've reached for the magic trick has unfortunately been the members of Gamma Gaming. Benelux has spilled all over the floor. And, well, they're a little bit more deadly than just a magical rabbit. Here, they set themselves up for another attempt. Going to lock it down and hopefully tighten some of the mistakes that led to what was a costly push there. Because when the time was of the essence, they still had a lot of bodies left on the board. Around 40 seconds and 4 members. That's doing okay, but then look at how some of them started to lose their lives. Little angles above where they just weren't seemingly aware of the movements and rotation going around them. Gamma are fierce. They will see an opportunity and take it. So you always have to be almost hyper-aware and hyper-vigil.
Vigil?
Hyper-vigil.
I don't see a vigil.
Hyper-vigil is like...
I don't see a hyper-vigil either.
Loads of energy.
I'm sorry, I'm just...
Sprinting around. A 5-speed vigil is a hyper-vigil.
Ooh. That might be a good April Fool's one day. Just give people 5 speed. Let them zoom in.
My April Fool's idea.
What's your April Fool's idea?
Pre-nerf Lion versus post-buff Tachanka 5 versus 5.
Okay. I can see that happen.
I'm not going to say any more on the idea. I'm just going to put that out there.
Yubi, if you really want to follow up on that, please contact Flick. You have his details.
Yubi, I do not recommend following up on my ideas.
But if you do...
Oh, talking of ideas, there's another trade. Every single round has been opened with almost at the same time. It's not always a trade, mind, but it is almost every single time opened with a Gamma player dropping someone and a Fedora player dropping someone within a second of each other, so consistently.
Well, Fratelli's definitely going to be scared off now as he tries to go for the peak right here in the fight. Deepak will be able to pick up the kill onto Nura as they bring the advantage back towards Gamma. As Fratelli moves at the last very second of the E1D, and this will be spotted out for just a little bit, but no one is there to follow up on it. There's not that much information that will be gathered by Gamma, except for the fact that one person is in sight at least. Yes, there is still 3 alive, so still a bit more to be gained before you can go for your execute.
Slow and steady is the moment as Namir dances around the possibility of this door as they listen to the wanton sounds of destruction. They want to find a way to try and strike at a Gamma that is often unpredictable and tough to manage and maintain. Hypervigilant, hypervigil, it would work, but as the bullets pepper almost every single side, it's almost like that scene from Jurassic Park where the water, it pulses with the guns of Gamma. Oh, and then you pull off things like that. Haze, I talked about your positioning being a little bit lackluster before. That time you were well aware of the vertical game being played above you, and you were well aware of how to stop it. Now, they are concerned for the repeat here as they look towards the man inside shower. They've got to try and get this out, they believe, before anything can start to cook here, and there it goes. They've cracked open the wall and pushed Haze further away.
A little bit of damage was done as they try and fell back as Deepak was holding off onto the angle. Infiltrate now putting up, well, basically denying every single bit of utility coming through as the Mew Jammers get popped, and that means that the Ace and Selmas are coming down right now. The breach will be there, but only 18 seconds left. This is looking like a very dire situation for Gamma because there's not much time left. There's still quite a bit of utility left on the likes of the defenders with the 2 Evil Eyes. The smoke canister here to try and deny as well, but then Deepak moves in. Will be able to pick up 1 kill. Fight will be able to follow up. It's in a 1v1 situation now. It's the EMR up against the LMG, but time runs out nonetheless, and Fedora will be able to pick up on that round as the fight just too far back to be able to do something about it. The fuse was dropped outside. He didn't even have the chance to plant, even if he wanted to. Gamma right now will have to fight for yet another round to try and get their win secured, whilst Fedora is starting their comeback. But can they make it fully? Can he go for the full 3-round comeback now?
As I said, I think they always had the potential to claim and clinch a couple earlier on in this game, but they've had these missed moments, missed opportunities, and slightly lackluster responses, I think, towards what Gamma are doing. Because Gamma, they're always at this great, consistent pace. It's not an imperfect pace, it's not a perfect pace. It is just one of those where they always seem tuned in to the game that's going on. Similar to a team like Eminem, where they're always kind of playing at their rate and their pace, and they kind of, without really saying it, they say, come and try and stop us, try and counter us and try and pull us apart. And against a lot of teams where there's a little bit of a slower pace or a little bit of a misunderstanding of the game that their opponents want to play, it becomes quick, it becomes aggressive. But teams that are good at responding and realizing often have good moments, because the one downfall of always playing at your pace, as we've seen from bigger teams and as we've seen of teams that lock themselves in it, is you start to shut down. You start to kind of not respond well enough. It takes a lot of stepping up and a lot of courage. And it's just down to Fedora for me to, again, keep stepping it up, keep applying, keep pushing against what Gamma want to do.
To mix and match to find out what the perfect combination of operators, but also setups will be to shut down the Gamma pushes, as they will be yet again attacking the top floor now. Astro repelling up on the piano, but hoping to go to the connected window. Is afraid of potential jump outs. still have the DMR, of course, of Avich playing. Not sure where he will be going for. It looks like he is on the Spiral side of things. As the first E1D comes out, there's going to be one player at least spotted down. That is the Mia on that smoke. Haze will be trying to rotate a little bit to the yellow stairs, but takes about 90 points of damage. He's going to be putting him into a very bad situation for the remainder of this round. As Nami is receiving a lot of pressure, Astro is instantly managing to pick up that kill. Not quite sure how that happened, followed up on that E1D, and that means he's in the middle of sight right now, just waiting for his teammates to follow up on the, well, current situation, the current aggression that he's able to bring. As Vike picks up yet another kill, that's a 2-man advantage right now. A plant might be coming in.
Another E1D pops off, but no swing and no response. There's a death on the top of yellow and an attempt on the next life. But with Deepek finding one more on the backside, it's a 4 versus 2 with a minute 40 left. And an Ash still inside sight that maybe seems a little bit surprised how they pulled it off. Capcan is attempting the response and catches the most important person right now, which is the man that was holding the kit. Now, you have stemmed and slowed the potential, and you might be able to find a beat and a read on where they are. The pings are coming out towards the Ash. They're still surviving, still dug in, and still only on a flicker of health as they're trying desperately to have a little bit of support. There they go. Norey catches them from the top of yellow to inside the bathroom. They've rotated, and the two members of Fedora have found each other, thankfully. They have. Some attempt at a cross angle, some attempt at a hold, and look at what is in the middle. It is the kit. From what was an intense, insane pace to the opener has slowed and stemmed to a 2 versus 2 where Gamma is somehow now in a weird way on the back foot because they need to get that kit back, and it's right in the eyes of the two defenders.
44 seconds, however, is plenty of time for them to try and work with as breaches seem to be coming in. Deepek is inside of admin now, just has to be careful to not get flanked by Capcan, who's looking to make his way around from the printer side of things. Panix is repelled up onto Connector and surely will be following up soon by, well, entering the building himself. As Capcan is hoping for some information. There we have it. Deepek now exactly knows where he is. We'll be losing the gunfight, however. Both the members will be low on HP now, however, from the likes of Fedora. Both will only need 1 to 2 shots of Panix. But look at the time that's left. Only 10 seconds are left. The grenade needs to come in clutch right here as he needs to get this kill. Now he needs to get the diffuser or the kill onto Capcan. As the time runs out, he is not going to be able to stick this plant as he won't be taken down in the result. And a rehouse will be called. The Slowbug is there for Gamma. And this might be exactly what they need because, well, first of all, it is Fedora that are starting to come back up.
Wow. That was, I guess, a couple of rounds where things started to go in the way of Fedora. You wouldn't have thought that that last round would have been theirs. Obviously, it kind of started with some intense aggression, and if I'm going to talk about the pace that some of these players like to put down, and Ash there already dug in by that connector wall and waiting for the hot pings that came round. You know, it was so close to Gamma's there, and as you said, this is probably a very well-needed moment.
They made a big mistake there by calling the rotation to come into Projector because they had the default plant spot in control. They could have just planted behind the CEO desk, get back out and use the repels to your advantage, but instead the diffuser and the kit just rotated through Connector and wanted to plant in Projector and then got taken down by the man who just rotated all the way back up from Spiral. Just a quick shot, very important one, and after that they were able to just hold down that kit as there was nothing else that Gamma could do.
Now, we talked about how much this could mean to Gamma, a team that obviously wants to be at the top of the board and wants to find themselves high and mighty towards the build-up of the playoffs and keep themselves locked in pace with, well, the other team that's currently doing as well as them. So, I guess there's always the fear that you probably feel a little bit more than me of looking at a team and looking at a Benelux team and looking at them being one round away and then it starts to go the wrong way.
It's no longer a fear anymore, Fluke. It's, you know, we throw all the time. It happens multiple times in the season. But it wouldn't be a Gamma game, or in this case, you know, the X-core of the most successful Dutch line we've ever had, without a bit of a throw. Like, it's part of the experience. You cannot go without it. All you can do is just stay calm and hope that they manage to fix it for themselves, because those guys are like, they're more afraid of it themselves than I guess most of the defense, because they are on the receiving end of it every single time.
It's tough. It's a tough mental game to put yourself in, which is why having a breather and a break is probably a very good thing. It's not like Gamma had slowed. As I said, they hit their pace and they hit it quite well. But little mistakes started to come together and little mistakes started to cost them moments. That 2 rounds in a row where if anything it's befallen by the clock at the top center, then the players still remaining, they seemed a bit puzzled by some of the moments and some of the things that were otherwise quite quick and concise close downs previously, and if they keep themselves slipping against the clock, it might be something where they find themselves slipping again a couple more rounds.
That is what Gamma needs to prevent, what Fedora is hoping to get back into. Because I'm going to be opening up the rankings of the group here just for a second.
Just
to get some more context.
You have to get your fill of numbers.
We have 6 teams.
Yep.
6 teams, right? Windstrike is currently in first place. They are on 7 points.
Yep.
Depending on how this match will end, they will be confirmed for playoffs or not. Then we have Heretics to come up in second place right now at 5 points. However, they can be overtaken by Gamma if Gamma wins here, or draws now only if they win. Then we have Gamma with 4 points, together with Maka with 4 points, then Fedora on 1. Now, Fedora has 1 point. That means a draw is going to be helping them, but it's still not what they needed. They needed some wins here to get themselves into a better position, because they are 3 points behind any team currently in the playoff spot. That means a full day, and there's only 2 more to go after this, and all they can fight for here is a draw.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's hard.
Because you also look at who, as I said, they've got left ahead of them, and this is Fedora's toughest game, statistically, out of the final 3. The other 2 teams that they've got are the ones that are beneath them on the board or around the same kind of battling space. And, you know, if you can take some blood from one of the high expectation teams, you can really set yourself up positively.
And that's what I have to do. Pull out that blood here. Just take a little bit of damage onto Gamma, which will mean they stay within striking range as well for you to potentially shut them down if they won't be able to win one of their next 2 games, or both of their next 2 games, I have to say. That allows you to potentially overtake them, because right now it doesn't look good for Fedora. It does look even worse for Granite, who are currently on 0 points. Might even be, not locked out today, but next week. That is definitely a possibility, so they have to win next week. But it doesn't matter, because we are in Fedora Gamma right now, and that is all that matters for us at this very moment.
And that's it. That's always the trade. You can talk about all the other games they've got, you can talk about games in hand, and you can talk about the future that they have left for them on the season forever. Well, okay, until they've played the games in the season, but you still have to take into consideration this is the game that's still in hand. This is the game that they still have to win. This is the game that is still on the boards of the potential of, if we can get this control down, if we can get this in our favor, you know, this is it. This is what we need to do, and this is when we need to do it. A 6-4, it's not over yet, but it is in no way easy for Fedora. That is the perfect way to open it, though. Take care of panics, take care of the sledge, take care of those frag grenades. And when you're looking at a site that in a way relies on its top-heavy hold and top-heavy possibilities, that soft destruction is a big blow.
It's a big blow indeed. Also, the grenades are going to be coming in quite rough, but it is by no ways over yet. I'm pretty sure I just heard an Ash charge go in, but I'm not sure if it actually blew up.
Well, Ash has taken damage.
Oh, it was the Evil Eye, okay. I thought it was on the window, but as we say that, Vach picks up a hatchet onto Nora, brings it back to equal numbers as the E1D is charged back up, and that means that it can soon be activated again. And as soon as that does get activated, surely Push will follow up with one of the Gamma players just jumping in a random window or trying to put some pressure elsewhere. As Astro is repelled up on CEO, just trying to shut down any rotation back to site.
Always the threat of Gamma is the pace that they can apply with surprise. We saw it in the previous round where Ash very quickly dug their way in across the main office and found themselves, as I said, connected to connector, but nobody else was really connected to them. So they were a little bit astray, a little bit off, and it was a close down from Fedora from that point onwards with the brilliance of 2 players. Now, well, they're not going to risk themselves. They're taking time. They've obviously been able to pull some blood back and take care of the Jaeger, but the trade of the Jaeger and a sledge, it's not a trade anyone would really want to make, especially this early on in the game. You assume the passive ADSs are already pre-placed, and the panics is, well, it's a bit of a panic when you don't have a sledge on the top floor. A canister pops early, and so does Namir as Avaish with that heavy hammer hitting gun. Finds another body and another victim.
417 really underused many times. You don't really see it come out often, just purely because it is on Twitch. And of course onto the Lion, and well, Twitch has the F2, which is a gun that is well, a myth of its own.
It's pretty good.
It's pretty good, and no reason really to go for the 417 in a headshot, you know, one-shot headshot game. But if you're not really going for the headshots, even though Fight seems to be hitting them, the 417 might be the right way to go for. As soon you hear that Banshee will be taken down, Fight will be able to pick up yet another kill as he lends himself a triple. It is Hayes right now that needs to step in as he is playing on the benches. Fight will be replaying in from Anti-Chamber. That is going to be a bit of control being gained, but with only 10 seconds left, they need to be pushing in now. It's only up to Hayes, but he won't be taken down as he goes off the angle. Astro picks him up. It's a GG to come through. It's a 7-4 on the board here. And you can really give credit to Avich, especially for this round. I believe in total he was on 16 kills in this game. Most of them with that heavy hitting 417.
Well, we talked about the rehost maybe being a good thing for Gamma to regain some of the solidity that they had otherwise let slip through their fingers. But as you said, Avich, that Lion, it proved very costly for the defenders. They couldn't quite find the angles and momentum they needed, and it was a good fight from Fedora, but unfortunately it ends away and out of their fingers. They've dropped the hat, and what spilled out as no points.
And you know what that means? That means Gamma and Winstreak are both confirmed for the playoffs here, so they have managed to make it to the last 8 for Challenger League, so congratulations to them. But let's toss it over to the analysts to break this game down.
Did you say drop the hat? No, we're not dropping